This one's a little different, folks. We're going to service my Canyon Commuter 7 Alfine 11 internally geared hub today. If you have a bike like this is the video for you. If you don't have one of these bikes, this might not be your jam, but you know what? Subscribe and I'll have some more great vlog adventure content soon. So the Shimano Alfine, or Alfine, you can argue in the comments about the right pronunciation of that. So it's 11 speed and it's essentially a set of planetary gears sitting in a bath of oil. And what we need to do today is drain oil from here using this little bleed port, do a flush of the system, and then refill it. Note this is different to Nexus or other third-party hubs. So Roll-Off and Alfine 11 both use similar design of an oil bath, but some of the more entry-level integrated hub options use a thick grease-packed design where to service them, you actually have to remove the contents, clean and repack the grease, and then reassemble. You don't need to do that with the Alfine 11, you just need to do an oil flush. About when to do it, the general consensus seems to be at 5,000 kilometers or after 1 year of riding. I have seen some comments about 2 years, but we're going to roll with that because I'd rather do it too frequently than not frequently enough. Alright, always good to have your spares somewhere handy. Don't think we need that. Nope. That is the blessed magic oil that we need. And somewhere, I should have a kit for it. Yeah. There we go. There's my kit. So I've got my kit. This one actually claims every 2 years. Again, I've seen arguments online, 12 months, 24 months. I'm going to do it at the 12-month mark. I ride it up the hill, I ride it aggressively, and the last thing I want is any metal fragments building up in the oil and causing problems long term. So we'll flush it, and let's see how clean it is coming out. That might give us an indication of when we should do it more or less frequently. Got my syringe, got my oil, got a paper towel, because whenever you're working with oil, it's always handy having something, because you're going to spill something like an idiot, and a refuse container for my oil, which hopefully I don't get mixed up with my Coke that I'm currently drinking. Firstly, we need to get our little bleed nipple open. Nope, and of course, a bit like USB ports, whichever Allen key you pick first is probably the wrong size. So what's the next one? There we go. Alright. And I just do these to reasonably tight by hand, don't do anything too fancy. A little bit like brakes, and there is a little rubber O-ring that you don't want to lose. So really important to make sure. It's really hard to see because it's black. But yeah, just like on a brake bleed, don't lose the little O-ring. Now I've got my syringe and my little hose. So these guys are attached together like that, sort of screw in. This is a third-party kit, but I don't think there's that much variation in them, to tell you the truth. Now, you might be thinking, hey Jeffro, why are you doing this whilst it's still on the bike? Surely it's easier to take the wheel off. The thing is, not really. I mean, I have to access a port inside of the spokes. That's not going to change, no matter whether it's in a wheel or not. And sometimes the wheel's handy because it's literally a frame. The bike's literally a frame holder for the wheel. It just makes life easy. So I'm just going to do that little hand tight. In theory, I think you're supposed to do it with like a spanner or something, but I can't fit anything in there with my size of hands. Alright, syringe is in, which means I can extract on it. And we're going to just tip the bike upside down so that gravity is our friend rather than adversary. Now we can extract. So don't over pull too quickly. Just extract gently. And oh, look at that beautiful, beautiful thick black oil. Now, keep in mind, this is the colour it is clean. So that shows you what a year, or in this case 15 months of riding around has done. Oh, it's delightful, isn't it? So yeah, if I pull too fast, you end up sucking air through, which is not the end of the world, but it's just not what you're trying to do. You're trying to get the oil out. So best take your time, just apply a little bit of pressure. The syringe is not the easiest to work with, being kind of a large bore plastic one, but it gets there. Now, one interesting thing to note is the first time I did this, when you first buy a bike with an Alfine 11, you're supposed to do a oil change after the first 1,000 km. That oil change had a lot of sparkly bits in it, which is why I think if you're going to do anything by the book, doing that first change at 1,000 is absolutely critical. Whereas this one's dirty, don't get me wrong, there's some nasty filthy colours in here, but it's not sparkling in the way that the very first oil change did. So if I have any outcomes or any advice, don't neglect the first 1000k oil change on these internally geared hubs. So here's a consideration for you. This bike takes 25 mil of oil. I've extracted 10 or 11 mil so far. Now, there's a bit left to come out, absolutely, but what it does show is these hubs do slowly leak a little bit of oil. And it's not an issue, it doesn't cause any major problems and stuff, but if you were to not service it for very long periods of time or very high periods of riding, you do run the risk of potentially running dry, which would be quite a serious problem. And so I think this, for me, helps justify doing it on a 12 monthly rather than 24 monthly basis, because in 15 months, I've lost probably 10 mil of oil. I don't think I'd like to see or try my luck running to 24 months. Alright, I think that's about all I'm going to get for now. So, we want to take this off now and dump out the oil, put fresh oil in, and we're going to do a flush. Now, a flush hurts emotionally because this stuff costs a fortune. And you're actually going to throw half of it away, but it is a critical part to really clean out the material. You don't want grit or grease or metal fragments hanging around in there and just getting integrated into the new oil. I'm just trying not to spill any oil. I've got my syringe empty, got my hose attached. I really wish these bottles could just fit directly to the syringe. So instead I've got to try and pull it up through the tube and not make a huge mess. So I've got about 20 in here. They say 25, but I did spill a tiny bit of oil before and I don't want to run low on the actual fill. This is the clean round. So what we're going to do is we're going to attach it in, and then we're going to go and fill the hub back up. So I'm just turning it around with the whole syringe. Honestly, that's the easiest way I've found to work with these. Because the problem is now, it's all, you get a leak bit of oil, right, and you're all slimy and you can't turn the damn thing. So yeah, I'll just turn it around as much as I can, get it sort of snug, and then we'll just gently fill that up. And look, if you are going to spill oil, the one thing that's best to avoid is getting it on the rotor or the brake pads. Alright, put that gently down there, and we'll go grab our little port nipple from earlier, making sure the rubber bit's attached, and we're going to gently screw it in. Alright, and that is just hand tight. I'm not using a torque wrench, I'm just getting it hand tight and not overdoing it. So I'm just going to do a bit of a run through and change some of the gears as well. Just want to give the hub a real nice clean out. Alright, and we'll leave that for 5 minutes, and then we'll do another cycle through, and then we'll drain it out, bringing any contaminants with it. Within 5 minutes, we're giving it a good run through. We want to remove it, drain it, and then install the final set of oil. So basically exactly like we did before. We're just removing the port, and the little nipple. Again, keeping in mind that we don't want to lose the little rubber ring. Now I'm taking my empty syringe with no air in it, just guiding it in, and honestly I just turn the whole thing, which generally works fine. If you need to, you just have to get your hands in there and twist that. Again, it gets greasy, which makes it hard. I can't get any kind of tool in there and manipulate it, so hand tight is the best I do. Alright, and we're going to let it drop. Now we're upside down, gravity's in our favour, and we're going to apply a bit of pull to it to drain out the flush oil. And again, this shouldn't be too filthy because we drained the old oil, we put new oil in, but as you can see, it's definitely picked up some materials along the way that need to be cycled out. Got pretty much all the oil out that we put in, and so we can rotate it back round and remove it. Just going to remove the whole thing, including the hose. It's just easier to unscrew the whole unit, and because it's under pressure it's not drawing back. And then I'm just going to dump the oil into a receptacle that we're going to throw away. So I've got about 30 ml in here. I'm supposed to put 25 in. I won't just put the whole 30 in, because what I'm going to do with 5 ml of extra oil, not a lot. Alrighty, and now we can just fill it back up. And we'll just unscrew it. And then we need to put the little bleed nipple back in. I'll note that although I put 30 ml, not 25, there's no excess bubbling out or anything like that. It's just the usual little bit of oil mess from the syringe. I'm just going to wipe off. Alright, that's looking pretty good. It's all fitted correctly. And we'll give a bit of a change through and then go for a test ride. Dirty oil and some paper towels in there, empty canisters to go, and then this is my spare kit. So I'm going to get more oil for next year. And always keep your things in a plastic bag because they have a tendency to get a little bit of oil. You just don't want it for all your other tools. It's not a hard job. You can do it at home. You can obviously pay someone to do it as well. Support your local bike shop if it's outside your comfort level. But as you've just seen, it's not that intimidating. If you can not spill all your oil on your floor. Oh, fuck me. Connect the hose. Use a syringe and use a tool. You're pretty good to go. I hope that was helpful. If you are servicing these bikes, there's two options for oil. One is the official Shimano Blessed oil, which is pricey, to say the least. But the other option is reading online, reading Reddit. It sounds like people have had successful runs with some automotive gearbox oils, such as Royal Purple 75W90. I've not tried this myself. However, having just used all of the official oil that came with my kit, that is certainly something I'll be buying because there's a fraction of the cost, and I'll chance it on the warranty and I hope there's no issues. Hey, if there is, at least it'll make for an interesting video. So yeah, appreciate anyone who's watched through, and hopefully this is helpful if you're servicing one of these yourself.